Hello everyone, and welcome back to Season 2, Episode 2 of Star Trek Honasto, a Klingon game of Star Trek Adventures First Edition set in the Segue galaxy. That's right, these Klingons have left behind the Milky Way to go explore and claim another galaxy for the Klingon Empire. And they're doing a pretty good job of it so far. I mean, they've annexed the Drin. They've started building a starbase, and now they're investigating what could be another potential first contact with someone that has technology equivalent to Borg transwarp. Perhaps potentially something worse, better. We'll find out together today. But my name is ELH, I am the Game Master, and joining me are four lovely individuals who will meet right away so that we can go ahead and get started. So let's start with Steadfast Pig.
Hello, I'm Steadfast Plague. Plague?
Plague.
Gross.
It's the Klingon version.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I'm playing Croc of House Koloth. I am the Honasto's old, not wizened security guy who just kind of wants to stab things.
Okay. Kern, what do you got going on?
I play Dagon, son of Ken of the House Stora, and I'm the chief fleet engineer for the whole fleet, and looking forward to doing some more engineering today.
Mm-hmm. I almost thought you were going to just go with and the best engineer in Seg 1. I just,
I was going to say, still hoping to be the best engineer in the galaxy.
There you go.
That's what the mug says.
A different one, yeah.
Yeah, love it. All right, Donut.
Hello, I'm Donut. I'm playing Captain Honasto, who will be maybe patching up some medical issues, maybe taking out her sweet batleth. Who could say? We will know soon.
All right, and last but not least, Monjadin.
Hey folks, Manjad, playing Colonel Maury, House Povich, Colonel Maury, son of Povich, House Makil. For the record, it's about 150 degrees outside and even more inside. It's time to start boiling the hell out of this other galaxy and reducing their honor down to a nicely congealed syrup, which we can use for Klingon glory.
Love it. All right, well, let's run that intro and then we'll get started proper. And welcome back. So where we last left off with our intrepid group of Klingons, they were piling aboard the I.K.S. Mangholm, the Durgath-class, which has been attached to the I.K.S. Honasto. And you all were going to explore one of the nearby systems where you detected something similar to a Borg transwarp conduit, where a signal went out, and then all of a sudden there were a multitude of alien ships of unknown design pouring out of what could be a conduit, what could be a portal, whatever word you want to use. And naturally, the players were like, let's go see what that's about. And that is where we're going to begin. What we're going to see is that the Mangholm is still at warp. And I have to ask an important question before I say anything further. Would you be cloaked, or are you going to be just showing up, I suppose?
Why would we not be
Yeah,
cloaked?
why would we not be cloaked?
Exactly.
It never hurts to ask. But okay, so then what we see is that at
Isn't it?
warp, we see the faint, translucent outline of the Mangholm as it's flying towards its destination. And as is typical for Honasto games, because I went back and checked, we always seem to start in the war room, but it's just it's a good
Right.
place to start.
Look,
Do
there's
you
a lot
think they
of
have
war
a
going
peace
on.
room? Come on, it's Klingon shit.
Our favorite room.
Yeah. But joining you in the war room is actually your Drin ambassador, your Drin observer, depending
Professor
on how you
Hendon?
want to call them. And their name, as I look at my own
Professor
notes.
Hendon?
Yes, it was Professor Hendon. And they are, shall we say, nervous, which is something you really haven't seen a Drin be at this point, because most Drin are very confident, very, well, for lack of a better word, very Klingon, very pragmatic. Whereas Hendon, the more they've sort of stayed aboard the Mangholm with you all, the more you can see that they're more of the mousy, like, nervous nerd type. And even in the war room, they're like, they don't feel that they belong here, so they're always looking around like, should I be here? Should I really be hearing this kind of a thing? But also in the war room with you, because you all more or less took over the Mangholm as Admiralty. So technically you're in command, but the Klingon captain of the Mangholm, whose name... There's so many names, I have to remember all the names. Whose name is...
oh, dude, it's all... My session notes got deleted from last one.
Oh,
crying.
rip.
Oh, that sucks.
Yes, it's Captain Drelos who is in command of the Mangholm.
Hello, Sam.
So Drelos is there, some of his underlings are there, but all of you are looking at a holographic representation of the system in front of you. And the science officer of the Mangholm, whose name I think I have here somewhere... I don't. That means we get to generate a name. Woo!
Nice.
Always love on-the-fly generation of names here.
Especially Klingon ones.
Yeah, especially Klingon ones, because there's so many fun pronunciations that you can do. All right, I'll put it in chat as well. So the guy's name is Medoc Zeno. He is the science officer of the Mangholm.
I'm actually adding the notes to the Mangholm just so that we know where they are if we need to look up the names.
Wonderful, yeah, because I also have my notes are like, because I have handwritten notes, so I have to keep flipping back and forth and be like, where are they? Where are they? So,
that would be Medoc's son of Zeno, or?
Yes, that would be Medoc's son of Zeno. Mm-hmm. So Zeno, of course, being a very minor house, like, he's probably one of 2 or 3 people of his house that's here. So not really something that is well known. But Medoc sort of points at the holographic representation of the system, and he explains, the closer we've gotten, the more I've come to understand that what we're dealing with is not quite a transwarp conduit, but it's also something that is a bit of a mystery. And what I mean by that is that we have identified that there is a smaller ship, about the size of one of our birds of prey, that came into the system at very low warp and basically deployed a beacon of some kind. And then when the beacon was deployed, there was a ripple in subspace, a ripple in the fabric of reality, and then almost appearing instantaneously were these other ships. And he does one of those things where he kind of pinches a part of the hologram and zooms it. And what you see is, for lack of a better descriptor, a brick, a golden brick that has an elongated half of a football on top of it. So you kind of have like almost a stadium shape on top of this brick. And you can also see that on the sides of the brick, on each side, there are 3 what appear to be main weapon batteries. And these weapon batteries, for as far as you can tell, they are projectile based. Now, whether or not...
Are we going to have to fight the Heisman Trophy here?
But it's one of those things where, Medoc points all this out and says, we're not sure precisely what their intent is for this system, and we're not potentially well, we could be going into a hostile situation, but we're Klingons. That's what we do. We deal with hostilities all the time. And he also points at the engine block of these ships, and he says, interestingly, these ships are only capable on their own of about warp 2 or about warp 3 at maximum, as far as I'm able to tell, which means that how they simultaneously... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm guessing he's a lieutenant?
Yeah, he's a lieutenant.
Okay, so I'd say I'm going to say, Lieutenant, thanks for the reminder.
You're quite welcome. But as I was saying, these ships are only capable of warp 1 or warp 3 at best, and the fact that they were able to simultaneously appear almost out of nothing, something is very wrong here. Something is different technology-wise between whatever's going on with the beacon and their warp capability.
Do we know about the smaller ship? Did we get a read on that? And also, I just wanted to go back a couple of sentences. It was the size of a warbird, but not a warbird, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, I wanted to make sure. I almost did a double take. I was like, wait, what? But okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, interestingly, Madoc actually takes the, pinch of the hologram and zooms in on the bubble ship, as I'm going to call it. And he will call it, he says, the bubble ship, it has been very difficult for us to scan at long range. The beacon, for lack of a better term, it's putting out has tremendous amounts of interference. We're able to do visual inspections of the ship, but as to what the ship's capabilities might be, what weapons it has, that remains to be seen.
Are there any similarities in how the smaller ships appeared back to Borg technology or Borg dispersal patterns?
Now, that is a question that I will like you all to roll for. The question is what to make this as a roll. Why don't we do, whoever wants to do it, a reason science at a difficulty of 0. So a free momentum generator for you.
Don't call on me.
I could throw a 13 at this. What's donut look like?
I always feel like I'm not the person to do for reason science, but I
14.
always am the person for reason science.
Does the ship assist or anything like that?
Well, I got a 15 for that, so I think I'm fine.
Oh, then it should be
no assist from the ship. This is just your innate knowledge of Borg dispersal patterns, kind of a thing. Okay, so that is 0 successes. Again, it's a
thrilling start today.
Yeah, it's a 0 success thing, so technically nothing bad happens. So, Kanas, you're thinking, nah, this doesn't match with Borg at all.
I got nothing, fam.
Could we get a probe through the... Could we get a probe close enough to get better readings?
Well,
all right, you're ugly too. No. Sorry, old shtick.
No, you're good. So that is actually a good question, and I don't think we've ever really decided this. Do Klingons have cloaked probes?
That's
yes.
I think the thing with cloaking devices
is that they're satellites, so they'd have cloaked probes.
Wait, they do?
Actually, I don't think they could do. I don't think they could. It's too much of a big piece of equipment to put on a probe.
Well, see, that's the thing, is that if I remember the DS9 episode where Quark and Rom steal the cloaking device, it's about the size of a photon torpedo, which is basically the same casing as a probe. So maybe if you made like a bigger probe, you could send it cloaked.
Yeah, but I would actually be inclined to say, do Klingons have probes?
Could we? Well, we could just make one, right? It can't be that hard. Wait, why would Klingons not have probes? I know it's kind of like my blanket question.
That's what the birds of prey are for.
This is true.
But there's got to be a size differential, right? Like, there has to be some, too big for a ship, but something a little bit smaller.
I feel like a cloaking device on a probe wouldn't be able to power itself. Like, it's too small to power the cloak and also scan, right?
Yeah, I can see that argument. All right, so what I will say is that you definitely have probes. You can send a probe into the system. But if you want to engineer a cloaked probe, you're going to have to roll for it, is what I will tell you.
I've got no problem rolling for it.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
I believe in you.
All right.
Can't do any... Well, I mean, you could do worse than me, but go for it. Let's see what we can do.
All right.
What would be the roll?
So on your part, Dagon, it would be either a control or a daring. I think this is more daring engineering now that I think about it.
Okay.
So daring engineering, difficulty of 2 on this one.
Mm-hmm. I'm guessing I have a focus.
Yeah, you have a focus.
Can
Chat just gave us a
anybody store?
complication, so that'll be interesting.
Oh, how
Thank
nice.
you, chat.
Thanks, start. Okay.
Eh.
One success. So I will offer you a success with a complication.
All right. I'll take it.
All right. So, sort of walking back the narrative a little bit. So, Dagon, your time on the Mangholm, you've developed a cloak probe. It's about 2.5 times the size of a normal probe that actually has to be physically pushed out of the shuttle bay of the Mangholm. It won't fire out of the main torpedo launchers. But oh, hey, you also just got a momentum from chat. Good job, chat.
Could we maybe do we have a shell bay? Could we just kind of shove it out the end?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that you basically just shove out the probe and then it goes off and flies off to its destination. The complication though is that the probe being under cloak is a tremendous power draw to the point that the probe is only going to last for basically a narrative amount of time that is less than a normal probe, like half the life of a normal probe, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
But
I mean, that's still enough to get something out of it, right?
So like a quarter of a parsec.
Yeah, there you go. Quarter of a parsec.
It'll be another work in progress.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, we'll say that you have sent off this probe, and it is being able... let me walk that back. It is more or less arrived in the system, the very outskirts, and is feeding you data. And that's kind of why you have such interesting data on all the other ships that are in the area. But the complication from chat that I'm going to say is that after about, 10, 15 minutes of you all discussing things in the war room, the probe is actually going to experience a short circuit and will decloak. And what that's going to represent in the war room is that you get a flashing red indicator that tells you that the probe is totally exposed.
Self-destruct.
Do we have that option?
We're Klingons, of course we do.
True, we did play on.
We do.
Of course we
could.
do. Forgot, sorry.
We could use this as further information gathering.
To see how they destroy it, or
How they
notice.
respond to it, test if they use their weapons, we can...
If they try to capture it versus... Yeah, no, I think
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan. Not the worst plan. We could use that information for our further first contact or first conquest. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
All right. So it sounds like you're going to wait and see, which is
Yep.
very interesting. So you wait and see. You constantly stare at the readouts. And what you see is that one of the brick ships, as I'm just going to call them, is going to motor on over. Again, very slow. Takes it about, a good hour to get that far out in the system. Because, again, I want to make sure that there's a difference between their bubble technology and their impulse warp technology. I want to make that very, very clear up front.
The bubble thing was how they kind of appeared really quickly en masse as opposed to coming through the portal. The rest was just regular moving through the world.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And so this brick ship flies over, and what actually ends up happening is that it doesn't tractor beam the probe, but it actually used grappler cables of some kind, very similar to what we saw in the NX era, where
I love grapplers.
where the grapplers kind of actually fire out from the cannons on either side. Let's say the port side, just so we have a good mental image. So these grappler cables fire out of the port side cannon encampments and ring in the probe until it is ensconced within the brick ship itself. And
all right, now we self-destruct the probe.
I mean,
No,
potentially.
we wait.
I would
Gather
maybe
more
not.
information.
But interestingly, when the probe is inside the ship, it is still returning data, but it's starting to fade out because of the short circuit and the cloaking device. There's only so much power left. But before the probe, kind of squeaks its last squeak, it is able to return that there are about 600 life forms aboard this vessel.
Okay.
And they actually are able to send back a single picture of what these things look like before the probe shuts off.
Mhm.
And if I did this correctly, let's see. Let's see. Let me see. So you should now all see a picture, and I'll
Interesting.
describe it for those people on stream who can't see the picture. Basically, if you'd like to imagine a biblical angel where you kind of have way too many eyes, way too many wings, concentric rings of gold that also have eyes. Imagine that in humanoid form, where the head is kind of almond shaped with so many eyes and little wings coming off the head. The golden rings are around the neck. And then you have sort of avian-like features that go down from there, so feathering and all that sort of thing. But they do appear to be humanoid. Their featherings are blacks and oranges and reds and little bits of yellows here and there. And they appear to be maybe about twice the size of your average Klingon. So this is a big ship, and these are big aliens, is what I want to communicate here.
Okay, yeah.
So it's basically Zaphiel meets Pokemon.
Yeah, I could see it.
They kind of remind me of the Kinchara.
Mm-hmm. Unlike scale size of ship, like Star Trek Adventures, right? Like the Negvars are 6, right?
Right. So
what is this one looking like?
This is also a scale 6.
Okay, copy. Makes sense. Okay, interesting. So now we probably want to get rid of the probe now, so they can't continue studying all of our tech, right? Ideally, without completely detonating the entirety of their ship, obviously.
Well, do we have the option to just self-destruct the probe, like in a way that doesn't blow shit up, or could we overcharge it?
Right? Can we like fry all of the internals without making?
Wait. Ooh, here's one. Can we use it like remote EMP, disable the ship, and go grab them?
Well, I was gonna say, before we start talking about blowing this probe up, can we get any sort of data from it in terms of like positional, like where the heck is it?
Oh, you mean where they brought it in their ship?
Yeah, like just to know, like where is it in relation to where anything else is? Like,
oh, sure.
Yeah, where's their docking?
Right, like if we blow it up, is it gonna like, is it right next to any warp core or anything, or is it like, yeah?
Okay, I'm going to say that since they brought it in on the port side, it was a shuttle bay, a previously hidden shuttle bay, and what actually happened is the golden metal kind of opened up. Like like a Star Wars door or vertical door just sort of slid open and came in into this large shuttle bay of some kind. So it's currently in a shuttle bay on the port side of the vessel. And what the image of the shuttle bay looks like, there's a myriad of small craft which are unknown design, unknown capability. There do appear to be stores of supplies and materials, or at least so many crates and so many barrels would suggest, but whether or not it's close to a warp core or if it's close to a critical system, you're not sure.
Sure. Okay.
Cool. Worth a shot.
Is this bay that they brought it into, does it look like it's more like the flight deck of an aircraft carrier with a lot of shit going on, a lot of things going back and forth, or is just, here's storage and where the ships live?
Definitely more like a flight deck of a real life carrier. So there's a lot of presumably mechanics. There's a lot of support personnel. In fact, in this shuttle bay, you're seeing maybe about 30 to 40 of these aliens.
Here's a thought, and everybody can tell me if this is a good idea or not. Do we want to treat this like, we decloak, say, hey, have you found anything like X in this area? If so, can we have it back? It may be infectious, and we use it as a chance to kind of get in good with them, get all cunning, and then we can figure out how to conquer them, or at least test what their reactions looks like.
Sure.
Like a pretext, a little bit Romulan, but yeah.
Well, you tell me.
Can we commute? Like, what capabilities do we have, like, to contact or work through the probe?
No, I'm not
the
saying work with the probe.
Yeah, the
You
probe.
can just in general reach out to them and be like, "Hey, you've got something of ours."
Yeah, the probe is
Oh,
KO.
okay,
For all
got it,
intents and
got it, got it,
purposes,
got it.
it's
Yeah.
like that. We come in like saying, hi, we're not from around here. We were probing stuff, but we think that it might be incompatible with life forms, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you want to drop a force field around it. Can we pick it up, take it off your hands, and say hello, share some blood wine? By the way, tell us your vulnerabilities.
Hmm.
Or not, or we just see where things go. I don't care.
You're the diplomat.
It's always great when the diplomat goes, "Oh, I don't care. We'll just wait."
Trying to speech less, act more. But look, if we're going to be diplomatic about it, we could at least say, okay, hello, greetings, first contact, how you doing? Or I don't know. It seems like they're numerically superior already. If they've got a flight deck full of question marks, or that could be retrofitted to question marks, we may not necessarily want to engage them straight up because we don't have all this delicious flak batteries going on.
Hmm. All right. To answer your question, though, Donut, about the probe itself, I would say you have the opportunity to send one command to the probe before it is completely shut down.
Okay, good to know.
Send command opera. Start singing that.
See what they think about in the original Klingon opera.
Actually, we don't know if they have that illustration. We didn't see any ears. Maybe they perceive sound more sensitively, less sensitively.
True. Yeah. I mean, I think like revealing ourselves is totally fine. I don't know. Like revealing ourselves, instantly asking them for assistance. Like, oh hey, that could test like what their kind of protocol is with things they don't understand.
Yeah. As much as we should be kind of going in, give us our probe back, inferiors. It's new leaf, new galaxy, new Klingons, way of the warrior. Well, I mean, if you're asking me for the executive decision, which we still do work robe, I don't know. The option should be there to use this as a pretext and try to maybe turn that into our advantage. Gives us the initiative. Say, hey, you have that back. Can we please get this? Or hey, give that back. It's ours. Or alternatively, we just sit and keep waiting, which is always an option. But also, we just kind of did give them a cloaking device intact.
Right.
It'll be good.
Yeah, we definitely want to get that back. But I don't think we need to be hostile about it either. I think we can just show up and be like, "Hey, what's up? That's pretty cool.
You've
You're
got
looking
something
at our
that
probe.
belongs to us.
How's it going? We're the Klingons. That's our thing. Let's chat." And then just kind of see what their response is from there.
Now, just to be sure, there's nothing in the Drin legends, and we can ask Dr. Hinden about this, any aliens or mythical beings that have this appearance to them, right? There's no connection to them. There's no oh wow, these are the mythical Vahukwagatses. Nothing like that, right?
Vahukwagatses. That's a name I gotta use. But no, so you asked this of Hinden, and Hinden very nervously trembles and tries to calm her nerves by patting her wrist with one hand and goes, "Well, I can't say that anything like this is in Drin mythology. I mean, we do have some tales of winged creatures, of winged deities, but we've been a very secular society for quite a number of centuries at this point."
Interesting.
Well, as long as she's not snapping a rubber band on her wrist, there we're okay.
Right. Yeah, and as long as it's not instantly, oh my god, this is the King Mahutsawatsit, definitely. So
King Mahutsawatsit, adding that name to the
adding that name. No, but that does kind of jive with them because they were kind of not really spacefaring or really involved in that. So I'm not surprised that they wouldn't have crossed paths, even if the Mahutsawatsins are more what's the word I'm looking for? Space cosmopolitan, as it were.
The reaction was not, "Oh no, not them again."
Right.
So
well, they wouldn't have had that issue, from what we understand. They were not interacting with other spacefaring cultures because they were not exactly spacefaring.
Or we could just be very matter of fact about it. We are Klingons. You have transported aboard our probe. What is your protocol for establishing first contact? It's just like kind of straight up, straightforward.
Right. Yeah. Hey, we're here.
Yeah.
That's our thing. Talk to us.
Yeah. Why not? We haven't really done that yet.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that, especially I don't think that tactically there's like a huge threat as far as we can tell. So I think that like an arrival in a cool ship and being like, yo, that's our thing. Isn't it cool? Watch how cool we are. What's up?
Okay.
Is
Gaze upon our honor.
Yeah, exactly.
So I
like,
think we
we're
have
not-
a plan forward
Yeah.
here. The question is, are you going to come into the system and decloak, or are you going to decloak before you arrive at the system?
Maybe we should decloak just close enough to get to weapons
I think
range
we
if
should
need
get a
be.
little. I think we should give them a little bit of notice. I don't think we should come like right up to them because they may be able to. We don't know what they could or can't detect. But I feel like at this point we're not trying to ambush them. None of this Romulan stuff.
Right.
Could we do anything? Could we emit any type of particles from within the cloak that would an early warp civilization could maybe detect and think about tracing, but could not like compromise the cloak?
There's definitely ways you could modify the cloaking device to do
Of course.
that. In fact, if I remember correctly, didn't you all do something very similar with the Drin?
No, we just
Yeah.
cured their pneumonia.
Well, but we did kind of like emit energy so that they could to test if they could kind of see it or not, right?
All right, yeah, we bounced
Yeah.
back like their radar or something.
Yeah, so we were trying to test what their sensor capacities were.
Mm-hmm. Well, you tell me.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea. I mean, we could, I think showing up cloaked, and then also, I mean, if we decloak an entire vessel in front of them, right? That's kind of epic.
Yeah,
Just be like, hey,
yeah,
look,
actually,
hey, what's
yeah,
up?
that's a
I
very
do
Klingon
like that
move.
as a show of our strength.
Right.
Yeah,
Of like our abilities. I like that. Yeah, I want to become cloaked just enough that we would definitely be on visual range, and then uncloak and be like, "Hey guys, what up?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
uncloak, open hails, and see what they do next.
yeah. We
Open
we
hail's
don't
not
even need
open
to do this
fire.
fancy
I
Titan
like it.
thing.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. So the plan is arrive in
Sounds like a plan.
system, be within visual range, decloak, and say yo. All right.
Yeah.
Within weapons range, not visual range. Weapons range.
Weapon
Yep.
range. Okay.
Or whatever. Send standard.
I don't know what
greeting.
I don't know how much of a discrepancy the two of them are off the top of my head as a player, but
You know, it's not a big difference, but the important part is that you are going to decloak in front of them, which is what matters. All right.
Right.
So, you all get to your positions out of the war room. You get to your positions on the bridge of the Mangholm. Settle into your chairs. Maybe remain standing for honor. Who knows? But you come into the system. The Mangholm navigates within torpedo range of this brick ship that is the one containing the probe. And then you decloak, and the comms officer says, "Sirs, channel open."
There we go.
Should we send the standard greetings?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to start. Just like check off, like give them a quick howdy, whatever the Klingons like. Hey, how's it going? We are Klingons. Tell us about yourself. Do you like
Is
long
your
walks on the
refrigerator
beach?
running?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
All right. So comm officer says, "Standard greeting, I." And a moment passes, another moment, and then the comm officer says, "Sir, I'm getting back a response, but the universal translator is reporting it being unable to be translated. Should I play it all the same?"
Let me guess. It works on light waves.
No, appears to be musical. And the comm officer plays it over the loudspeakers of the bridge. And what I'd like to imagine is the sound of like singing crystal, where it is a series of like not quite high pitched but oscillating vibrations, where it does kind of sound like a hymn. It does kind of sound like a church song would be, but there's no words. Is the key here? Is that it's all very much just like an like up and down.
Yeah.
Almost like a Gregorian chant, if it was a little bit more lyrical, if that makes any sense.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
Which opera shall we return? There are so many choices.
But you hear this, and then the weapons officer reports, "Sir, they are attempting to establish target lock. Should we respond?"
Raise shields
Shields up.
first off.
Shields, aye.
Battle stations.
And the weapons officer reports, "Sir, they are still attempting target lock, and they are moving closer. Shall I open fire?"
Can we try to I don't know, do some sort of sub scan of the audio that they sent over? See if there's any other
Yeah, and
things
who
within
is
the
the most
message.
and who's the most qualified musician on board? We got to find out if there's any weird harmonic stuff, or if it's some kind of musical secret message.
Gotcha. All right. Well, if you want to do a quick and dirty translation of what was said, this is probably going to be a reason and science or a reason and con, because I do believe con follows with protocol in the Universal Translator sometimes. So, reason and con. The Mangholm will assist with a computers and, well, hold on. Let's do communications and con for the Mangholm.
Right.
Okay.
I'll
Remember, the ship is always rolling one die and always has a focus.
I think this might be a good time to use intelligence officer and give Donut an advantage on this one. I don't know how we would have detail or insight on an intelligence report for musical species. Maybe Klingon intelligence has something like that.
Mm.
Sorry, I cut out there a little bit. Can you repeat?
I'm thinking this might be a good time to use intelligence officer if I can finagle that maybe there's something with an intelligence report dealing with previous encounters with hymnal species. Hypnagogic? I don't know.
Okay, so it will bring the difficulty down. So it was going to be a difficulty of 4. It is now a difficulty of 3.
Okay.
Good luck, Donut.
Wait, so I'm the one rolling this?
It's reason science.
Or reason con. I know at least one of you has a decent con score.
Now I have reason con and diffused attention as a talent.
Yeah, so technically you could start with 3d20.
Right.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because I was looking at my stuff, and I do have as a focus, and I don't know if this is it, because we don't know what's on the signal. If we suspect there's any sort of biological thing, I do have radiobiology, which may be it, but we don't know that. But that might be after we determine what the signal is, if there's any sort of life.
Right. I might also have the argument. I have arbitration as a focus.
Also could apply.
Yeah, I'm gonna think that might make a better. You might do it as a better first round, and then if it winds up we do detect something life signs or biological in the signal somehow, I could take a second pass at it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so at least we got a lower lower difficulty at least.
Yeah.
And we got some stuff to go for.
Yeah, so I'm starting at 3 die, and buying the 4th die. Is that still 1 threat, or is it still technically paying for the 4th die?
So it's still paying for the 4th die, so it would be 2 threat if you wanted to buy with threat.
Yeah, I'll still do it. I'll go up to 4 die, reason con with a focus, and we'll see what happens. Boop boop.
4 successes. So you actually get a momentum back for your trouble. Well done.
Nice.
5 successes with the ship.
Oh yeah, well the ship. So that is 5 successes. You actually get 2 momentum. So you're up to 3 momentum total.
Cool.
So the beautiful thing about music is that whenever it's not just random noise, there's always a pattern of rising and falling. There's always a certain beat pattern, whether it's 5/8 or 5/10 or there's always a pattern to be discovered. And the message you translate, Croc, is something along the lines of, we are, and I'm making sure my notes are correct there. Yes.
We are the world's
Zidrak.
largest barbershop quartet.
Zidrak?
We are the Drak.
And
Zedrak.
It's the Zedrak. Yeah, let me put it in chat.
Zedrak.
Yeah, the Zedrak. We are the Zedrak. Please state your purpose. Now, what I would say is that this
Okay.
is just the translation of their end. Your
Sure.
universal translator is not equipped to send a response in their language unless you would care to spend 2 momentum to make that advantage.
I was going to say, I would like to, because we already have
Yep.
we are and purpose from their message, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have half of a sentence.
So I'm going to put forth that we maybe should consider beaming the Reich opera back at them if their whole communication thing is done through all the musical stuff. If we pick something that's like the purpose is honor, look at how great and honorable we are, honor, honor, honor. Maybe they might get that better than a translated message.
You tell me.
That's not the worst idea I've heard.
We have a platoon of singing karaoke lawyers on board. I mean, I'm just saying.
So what are you proposing instead?
I propose that we sing an opera back at them.
But the problem that I'm detecting is we don't know what the how music translates to words. So we could sing back an opera and then they interpret that as words, right?
Well,
So-
I'm
And
gonna
the
say,
declaration of war at the same
Right,
time.
because we don't know what the words are. Like, if we sing a
The
Klingon opera to
translation
them,
is the issue, right?
right?
You
We don't know how they would translate that.
this is true. I'm at least gonna say if I've got a psychology focus, it might give us a shot to sing back something that comes across, and thinking in terms of a species that communicates in song and music, that might be a cleaner attempt than from spoken words into whatever they're doing. Think like they think.
Well, I still think either way, the 2 momentum to have like an advantage on communicating is probably still good, right?
I mean, potentially.
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking in terms of banking the momentum, because if we're at 10 threat, things might go south quick, and we might want to have that momentum. Because I've already burned intelligence officer, which was useful, but still.
And we can always make more.
Yeah, I mean, we'd still have 1 in the pool. So for any of you guys that have cautious,
Yeah, I do have cautious, but it's for command. I don't know how well that would work for communicating.
yeah. I'm still going to vote to spend a momentum to potentially help us out.
2 momentum, yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
As a buy.
All right.
Yeah.
So if I understand correctly, you are going to spend that 2 momentum to make the advantage that you send back a message. What is the
Yep.
message you are sending?
I want to tell them that we are the Klingons.
Mhm.
There are Klingons.
Yeah, our purpose is exploration. That we come from far away, and that we wish to get to know the locals in a more diplomatic way.
Okay. So you send off that message, and the weapons officer reports, "Sir, they are slowing to a stop." And then moments
Just
later,
hold position. Try not to appear too threatening.
and then moments later, the comm officer reports, "Sir, they are sending back a signal using your translation matrix, playing it now." And the voice, again, the universal translator doesn't necessarily just translate the lyrics or the sounds, but it does so in a way that still, even when it's translated, is very musical. So it's like a constant musical number that you're hearing. So
Sure.
anybody who's been to a Broadway show knows that it's basically Cats or
Nice.
West Side Story, or pick your favorite Broadway, basically.
Sure.
And that's what you're hearing. Which I'm not going to
Awesome.
subject. I'm not going to
They've
subject
discovered-
anyone to this because I cannot sing. But just imagine that they're singing this.
Fiddler on the ecliptic plane. Sounds crazy, no? Etc.
Oh God. But yeah, they reply back, "Greetings. We have come to annex this system for the Zidrak people. Does it belong to you?"
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it does. Yep.
Okay, so they said, okay. Let's see.
They want to annex. Oh well.
They are here to. Wait, what is the system
just
called
might have,
again?
we just
and
might
what
have
are
to
the-
fight for it.
Oh, go ahead. What is the system called, and what are the key features here? I know it's the narrative system.
Yeah, it's the narrative system, and there is a. I'm checking my notes here. My notes
How many
say that it's a
planets?
G-class star, so it's a pretty big star. It's kind of a whitish blue star. There is one big gas giant, a Class J, sort of like Jupiter, and one of the Class J's moons. It has 4 moons. 3 of them are Class D, rich with minerals, and 1 is Class M, so standard Earth or Kronos fare.
Interesting.
So this
Do
is
their avian features, do they look purely vestigial from what we could tell, or do they look functional? Like, do they still look like they can fly and need like an atmospheric planet?
So the wings that you're seeing on them are small and are definitely not wings that could support flight.
But they might suggest like an avian culture, like avian evolution. And if so, are any of those planet classes hostile to air-breathing avian cultures?
Well, that would be a reasoned medicine to determine
Nice.
that.
Idea
Like
being, maybe we can make it like, look, there's nothing here you want. You know, you can try to annex, but we were here first.
All right. Well, let's see what we got.
All right, so it's going to be a reasoned medicine, and the ship will assist you with a computer's medicine, and the difficulty on this will be a 2.
All right. I'm thinking if I've got anything. I don't think I've got anything that'll really help out. But
Let me check. Let me take a
oh,
look.
xenobiology, maybe.
Yeah, you definitely have
Yes,
xenobiology.
Biology.
All right. So I'm using a focus. I just checked the box. I don't often use focuses, so I just have to double check. So I just checked the box for focus. I don't have to do anything else, right?
Correct.
Cool.
2 successes.
Nice.
So, bit of good news, bad news. The good news is that, or maybe neutral news, depending on your viewpoint,
Well,
the Class M world is conducive to the Zidrak life or avian life. And the bad news, though, is that this world, if you want to call it that, this moon, is actually tidally locked. So what that means in the context of a moon is that it always faces the same way to the sun when it's not in the shadow of the Class J gas giant. So basically what happens is for lack of a better term, the sun side is always extremely hot, sort of like what we have in real life right now, where it's the worst summer days that you could ever think of. But when it's cycling around to the other side of the Class J and it's out of the sun's purview, it is
It gets friggin'
it is the harshest winter you have ever seen. So it's still habitable. It's still something that you could live on, but you would swing between the 2 temperature ranges so hard that it would not be very pleasant.
one could, should one.
Unless in a biome, under a biome there.
Mm-hmm. Under a biodome.
I mean, yeah, Klingons could do that, but there's probably not enough that we could persuade them away from annexing this system. You don't want that one. Try over that direction.
Oh, and I'll throw in, since chat redeemed a complication, and you also got a momentum from chat, which means you're up to 2. The complication is going to be, as part of the scam, Kanas, is that you are detecting there's some very valuable minerals on those Class D moons. Like, we're talking stores of dilithium, we're talking stores of trilithium, like very rare, very important, very potentially destructive minerals that are available on these moons.
Let's just say we already annexed the system.
Yeah, it's our property.
Yeah.
So,
So the
ask him.
answer-
Yeah, did you guys? Okay, where's your paperwork?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a
warm-up
minute.
phasers.
They're
Wait,
Warm-up
hold up a second.
disruptors.
Here's an idea. Here's another idea. If I got lost of focus, could we maybe like come from a position of, well, yeah, you're trying to annex something in such and such, the Bubar Imperium, and if you already have your claim to it, sure, just send us your paperwork and we'll be out of your way. Oh, you don't have any? Well, come back when you do.
No, so they
We
just
send
said
them out of here.
They just said that their intent was to annex the system. They were asking us if we had already done so.
Yes,
So the
and we're
answer
saying
would
that.
be yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
very-
fact that they even ask us
Less
shows
is more.
they probably don't have a lot of claim to this system. If they're like, "Oh, we're annexing it. Oh, were you here
That's
first?
fair.
My bad."
Yeah.
So,
All right.
it's
Yeah, let's
probably
say
safe.
yeah.
But
Yep, this is ours.
we also just
You
don't.
just-
The answer
You just
is
ingested
yes.
our claim buoy and knocked it offline. So yes, it is ours. Give us our buoy back.
All right, so very important question here. Do you? Well, let me ask this: what do you precisely tell them in response?
I want to say yes. We've staked our claim. There was a buoy there that indicated it. We've lost its signal. Have you seen it? Maybe we get them to think, oh yeah, that was ours.
So, are you gonna? Is your intent to be like, "Oh, that was there for a long time, and something went wrong, so we came to look at it"? Is that what you're going for?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, also known as deception.
Yeah. We're gonna completely
A little
lie to these
Romulan,
guys?
a little Romulan nonsense here.
It is. We're being clever, not deceptive.
Okay. All right.
Interesting.
Let me see. What do I want this to be? Go
I feel like
ahead
this is
and
gonna
give
backfire.
me a presence command. Whoever is sending the message. It will be a difficulty. You know what? I'm gonna spend some threat here. It was a difficulty of 3. I'm actually gonna bump it up to a 4 with 2 momentum, and then I'm gonna spend another 2 threat to make it that the complication range is now 18 to 20.
Let me handle this one. I've got offsets out the wazoo. Commanding bloodline. Let's see. Cautious command. So I'll buy at least 1, which gives us a reroll. So we're down to 1 momentum. Let's see. What does Dauntless do? Resist being intimidated or threatened. Are they attempting to intimidate or threaten us?
Depends on your definition of intimidation, because they do have a big old brick of a ship that's, within weapons range.
I feel like all of their most recent communication is not. I feel like it would be difficult to imply that as threatening.
All right, we can always save them. Dauntless is still there.
I would suggest to you, though, is to look at using determination for 2 automatic successes.
That's not a bad idea, actually. So we get the 1 reroll from Cautious Command.
Some of those.
Yep. Commanding Bloodline will. Let's see. What else? Commanding Bloodline do? Ignore first complication. Yeah. All right. So determination.
So actually, real quick before you roll, I will point out that you have a value that specifically says there is honor in truth and in truth honor.
Right.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, so
So
you're
I gotta-
kind of working
yeah.
against yourself.
So what I would tell you is that I'll allow you to do all this, but if you are going to follow this course of action, Maury, you do have to cross out that value and replace it with a new one.
I would also say that
so
this
that's
is
worth it, too.
supported by the value of rapid victory is better than slow honor.
Correct. Yeah, I'm not saying that you can't use determination. What I'm telling you here is that you basically are going to have to change your first value if you continue with this.
Change or challenge?
You would have to change. So it would not count as a challenge. It would be something that you would have to change that value, though. It doesn't have to happen right away. You can mark it as challenged and replace it later, but you could not use that value going forward, is what I'm saying.
Because I think just to make sure we're all, thinking the same way here, just from my perspective, we know very little about who these people are. We do know they have a way of rapid transit potentially in this system. So my perspective is I think these could be better as potential allies than potential enemies, mainly because we know nothing. So we don't know anything more about, where their system is, what they're doing.
And how quickly they could call on reinforcements.
How quickly they can get reinforcements here. Are these just their building ships, right? If they're just here to do some scouting, they're not going to send warships. We know they're big, right? We're barely scratching the surface, and we don't even know what their philosophies are. So, if we're like, oh yeah, no, we're here to annex it, they might be like, oh okay, and then leave and then come back. and they might also know something more about the Herc, which could potentially be helpful down the line. I'm not saying we don't go through with this plan. I'm just saying
There are other options.
there's a ton of variables here that we're still unsure of.
Right,
Mhm.
but the thing is, if we yield the system, we yield the opportunity to come in with the technical advantage and something of the home field advantage from at least what we know.
Well, I mean, we didn't have a claim on the Drim homeworld until we allied with them, and now we're building a station around it, right? So
I would say that. Well, I would say that that if we are here to expand the empire, thus to annex stuff, I would say that yes, we're here to annex it, and I would say it's not even a falsehood. We're just saying yes,
So-
we're here to annex it.
So the question was, have we already annexed it?
right.
Why do we need like a formal treaty that documents it? We're here, and maybe through strength of will and arms, yeah, we've annexed it. It's ours. Just the fact that they don't see any Klingon property around it doesn't mean it's any less ours. We claim it.
Well, actually, they have some. They have some in their cargo deck there.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what happens.
I don't know, but you're actually very right in making salient points about the fact that we don't necessarily want to charge in. I don't want to yield anything on this.
Sure.
one,
Yeah. And I also think this isn't like if we do this, there's no going back, right? So I think it's still good. It's still another way to learn what their intent is.
So maybe we just go in, I guess, our mandate is exploration, annexation, and communication. What happens with this, we have latitude to do. But yeah, maybe you're right in that we say, look, we're on a broad thing. It might involve annexation. It does open the door to business.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, you're right in that we probably may not want to go in full Klingon, just enough Klingon to be interesting.
Right. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Interesting way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I already put back the honor and determination. So no roll on. Yeah, we're here to annex it, or it's already ours. But I don't know. I'm all for saying, to just describe our mission is to grow our people. Create. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. Technically, it's Klingon capitalism. That's what we're here for.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
in essence, you're telling the truth, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I don't like this Romulan deception nonsense. So I'm glad we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It does compromise future negotiations, but it is true.
Right.
Okay. That's what matters. Since you are telling the truth, no roll required.
Okay.
And the Zidrak reply very quickly and say, well, this is our second time encountering a spacefaring species such as yourself. Perhaps we could engage in cultural exchange.
Are you propositioning me? No, I'm kidding. I don't know. The way I see it, totally our mandate is cultural. Hey, how about we offer them make that third and glance at Dr. Hinden? Professor, how would you like to continue to go for 2 for 2, as they say?
You want me to meet these people? I'm just a professor. I'm not a diplomat.
Your people put you on the ship. You're here now. Welcome to the crew. Congratulations.
You are correct, Professor. You are not a diplomat. You are a professor, but you are a representative of the Drin.
Let's start off by what they mean by cultural exchange here. It could just be exchange of data at this point. Cultural data.
We are amenable in principle to this idea. What do you propose?
All right. What they reply with is a set of coordinates on the M-class moon, and they say very cryptically, bring your best food. And then the brick ship cuts the communication and begins motoring towards that Class M world.
How
Blood
tasty
wine?
does
Blood
Dr.
wine?
Hinden look?
It looks like we're having chicken for supper, boys.
Every Klingon on the bridge slowly turns towards No, I can't. That's our friend.
Oh, jeez.
Professor Hendren is friend, not food.
Not food.
¿Por qué no los dos?
Friends, not food.
But why? All right. Well, gather the cooks. Kill the freshest,
Schmucks?
the biggest targs. Get the Get the best cask of bloodline we have currently on the ship. If we
I think
feast, we do it right.
Yeah, some free-range targ.
Yeah.
And bring a boombox or whatever the Klingon equivalent of a
Yeah, there you
boombox
go.
is.
Again, if we're gonna go back to your opera idea, yeah, I'm okay with that.
I was thinking more musicians there.
I mean, we could just say, because the Mangholm is a large enough vessel, that you might actually have a Klingon jazz band aboard, because why not?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Which
All right,
clearly
that implies that implies there's Klingon bebop. Let's bring those guys.
Well, here's my thinking: is we all know the Cantina song from Star Wars. We just have to have the Klingon equivalent thereof.
Right.
Same thing, just a cappella in Klingon.
Maybe that's a thing.
Wonderful
I don't know.
thoughts.
Yeah,
All
these,
right,
these are all good thoughts. All right.
But yeah, let's round up a couple of targ. Maybe bring a cook in case they're needed. Let's bring the good doctor, and all right. But
Get our
do
version of
bring
the Maximilian Rebo band from Star Wars.
We may have difficulty eating anything if it's as hot as the reports say. Might need to have, be in an EV suit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I should say that the coordinates, and when you check the coordinates are on the Goldilocks zone, so kind of straddling the night-day line. So it's
cool.
It's
so we'll be okay.
Decent temperature, yeah.
But it's not. How long before it goes into the bad zone?
Into behind the Class J gas giant, you've got about 12 hours.
Oh, okay.
All right.
But I should say that
how long is it going to take them to get there?
Right, that's where I was going. At their current speed, it's going to take them 4 hours to make it to the moon. You all in the Mangholm could be there in 30 minutes if you went full impulse.
And tractor them in.
Right. So again, I want to highlight here, their warp and impulse capability is again at odds with the bubble ship.
Right.
Is ancient, yes.
Now that we're in system, the bubble ship isn't here anymore, right? Or is it?
No, the bubble ship is still there,
Okay.
still projecting the beacon. I was just waiting for somebody to ask about it.
Go ahead.
When you look at the bubble ship on the view screen, what you see is it's very similar to like a Crane Games claw, where it's kind of got those 3 metal prongs that are sort of facing downwards, and it's kind of like a ball with the claw on the bottom.
Sure.
And then the claw fingers, arms, whatever you want to call them, have extended, and it is projecting a ball of energy. And when you scan that ball of energy, nothing makes sense, because what you're scanning is, like, if you remember that episode of Voyager, the very infamous episode of Voyager where lizards happen, where Janeway and Tom Paris become lizards. You remember how they drop a few lines of, we literally scanned an entire sector in mere moments, kind of a thing.
Right. Yeah.
You're getting that very same level of information from studying the bubble that is being projected.
How big is the bubble relative to the ship?
It is the same size as the bubble ship, so the circle of the ship is the same size as the subspace distortion that it is projecting.
Gotcha. But the scan is coming back like it's an entire system.
Yes. And in fact, it's one of those things where there's even like a shower of sparks from one of the consoles on the bridge, and the science officer, he kind of jumps back and goes, I would recommend not scanning that bubble at such a level. Once again, we nearly overloaded the Mangholm's computers.
Oh.
Fascinating. Just keep an eye on it passively. But this bubble ship, does it have the same like design language as the brick ships?
Similar, yes. The golden metal is still present. The livery, the patterning of the hull is still the same. But again, the ships that are here are all basically flying bricks. This one is more sleek. This one is more, dare I say, modern?
Fascinating.
So this is something. This is maybe reverse engineered.
Copy. Does the bubble ship still appear to have, very slow?
It was more like evolutionary development here. It's just a slow development of
Right.
Into what a normal society would normally develop
Right.
into warps.
Yeah, like an alternate branch off path, I guess. Like
They
if
were,
they
yeah.
went down more dimensional weirdness, for lack of a better term.
All right. They found
Necessity is the
some,
mother of invention.
mhm.
Is everything
Not-
symmetrical on the bubble ship and the smaller ships?
Yes.
Mhm.
And in
Okay.
fact, it's one of those things where now that you've asked that question, all of the Zidrak ships are very symmetrical. In fact, it's one of those things where you could slice them laterally, you could slice them, what's the other word? Vertically, and the two halves of the ship would be symmetrical.
Okay. That is good to know. It's something they like. They like aesthetic equilibrium.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's got some kind of design cue for doing it. They may not be atmospheric, but it's not like we just bolted on everything that could get into orbit.
Right? Yeah,
damned.
it's not a Pac-led situation.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right. So maybe how about we go ahead. We set up the meeting zone with a like perfectly symmetrical dinner setting.
Should we offer to tractor them with to save some time?
No, I think there's a good kind of show that like we go ahead of time and get everything prepped, and in that prep we try to make it amicable to what we've identified as their desires, right?
Yeah, and also you're right in that that also kind of means we don't hurry them along.
Right, we're not rushing
Right.
them, and we're not like forcing them to tag along. We let them, do their own thing in their own way.
Yeah, let's bring the food, but also the batliths.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll go try to set up a nice little dinner location.
Mm-hmm. Picnic area.
Perfectly symmetrical. We got to make it nice and symmetrical.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Circles and bricks.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Dude, we could do one side that's like Klingon Empire colors, and the other side that's like kind of there. Like they like golden and golds and stuff.
And have a big picnic table in between.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. All this ceremony and niceness is starting to look a lot un-Klingon. Wouldn't we just like have, here's a plate, here's Targ, this is food.
Banquets, I think, can still be very Klingon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but not pretty.
It's almost like you're playing Star Trek Adventures, where Klingons can be a little bit less Klingon, a little bit more Star Trek.
Well, the thing is, there's also the evolution of the Klingon people. I mean, we've had, like, what is it? At least 50 years of peace with the Federation. So, I mean, we've picked up, some of their bad habits.
Yeah. Respecting one's culture is honorable.
Well, we are still Klingon, as long as the Targ is still twitching.
Yeah.
And the Gach is fresh.
Yeah. The Gach is very fresh.
Yeah, we'll make it all the most fresh, delicious Klingon cuisine we can have.
According to Beta Canon, since 2376, there's a lot of those Jech Pui became allies. They gained status as Klingons here. So Martok was one of the. He encouraged more less expansionist mentality.
Right.
Yeah, true.
Less conquering. So, and we're almost 40 years later here. So
yeah, makes sense.
If not more,
we're doing the work.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Worst case scenario, things come to blows. Best case scenario, things come to blows.
Hey, maybe they'll hate our food. And then...
All right.
So I don't see a downside to that at all.
Yeah. Either way, that sounds interesting.
Cool.
All right.
Sounds
well, it
fun.
sounds like you're going to motor ahead of the Zidrak vessel, and you do pass by the other two vessels, the brick vessels, which are in system. They don't really send any replies, but you do note that they do scan you to some degree as you pass by.
Yeah.
And you arrive at the Class M moon.
Oh,
and the
question.
coordinates. Sorry. Go ahead.
Is it possible to do a scan of like their weapons? Because you said projectile weapons earlier.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if now that we're closer, can we get a bit more detail on that?
Yeah, real quick. Give me a reason and a security, and then the Manghole will assist you with let's call it a sensors and security. Difficulty of 1.
Gotcha. Let's see. Focus Starship Security Systems potentially.
Oh yeah, definitely would apply.
Copy. Oh,
Can I
awful on
assist
that.
Well-
with my Starship weapon
Well,
systems?
I rolled a 0, so
Yeah, I was gonna
assist.
say you rolled a 0. So unfortunately, what I'm gonna say is that you're able to tell that
Yeah.
those look more like cannons than disruptor
Gotcha.
banks.
Sure.
But
Okay,
what it is
gotcha.
that they actually fire and at
Mhm.
what speeds and if it was a threat to you, you're not able to determine.
Gotcha. Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you.
Weapons?
Can-
Yes,
At a
they've got them.
engineering point of view, though?
Say again?
Can I look at it from an engineering point of view?
Yeah, I'll let you do it, but I am gonna bump the difficulty up to a 3.
Mhm.
That's fine.
Yeah, for you it would be a
So-
reason engineering on your part.
Yes, and I'm looking at the values. I'm going to use my determination there.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Knowledge is a weapon. Use it wisely.
Hmm.
It's kind
All
of
right, so
appropriate.
that'll get you. Oh, give me
Okay.
1 second.
Choose life.
Sorry
Choose
about that.
life.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That'll get you, 2 free successes to start with, which is good.
Mhm. And I'll roll 2 dice there.
Okay.
And Starship weapons and systems as a focus, so that's good. Oh well.
There's your 3.
Not too bad.
And then some.
So it's probably a good thing that you figured out what their weapons are like, because what you're seeing, and God, there's a frog in my throat now. Give me 1 sec.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah, drink something there.
Damn, that's a hell of a weapon if that's what it did to you.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
one hell of a weapon. So the weapon, as far as you're able to tell, is actually launching shells of antimatter. And
Whoa.
Oh.
this is something where the projectile itself isn't really an issue for your deflectors, but the fact that it is detonating antimatter. Imagine basically the flak turrets that you have on the Honasto, but instead of disruptor blasts, it is actually like little explosions of antimatter. So it's kind of like not a full photon torpedo, but it's just as damaging, if that makes any sense.
Mhm.
So they've definitely got firepower.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it's not
Yeah.
as advanced as yours. If I had to break out a certain number here, your torpedoes do something like 8 or 9, where their flak cannons, as I'm just going to call them, their
Yeah.
flak cannons maybe do 3 or 4.
Okay.
Right.
Nice.
Do we have any approximation as to whether or not they're longer range, short range only?
They are medium range, which is the optimal range for your disruptor banks.
Disruptors,
Okay.
yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So, is there a way? I'm going to look into a way to adjust our shields.
Okay.
To see if I can deflect some of that
Okay.
antimatter blast there.
Cool.
Okay. We'll say you're working on that as you're motoring on
Mhm.
over. But yeah. Unless there's any other things you want to take care of, we'll say that you arrive at the Class M moon.
Nice.
And when you get a visual of the coordinates on the planet, or the moon, you see that it is in the middle of rolling grassy hills. It's very similar to the Windows XP background.
Nice.
But instead
Took
of
the words out of
green-
my mouth.
Yeah. Instead of green grass or green leafage, what you're seeing is kind of a bluish purple. So kind of almost not quite a royal blue, not quite a royal purple, somewhere in between there.
Cool.
Right.
But you do find, free of charge, no roll required, you are able to find a very, shall we say, symmetrical spot
Nice.
within the coordinates that were sent to you.
Nice.
Got good feng shui.
Mhm.
And I think the good captain is going to kind of turn to you all and say, well, we've arrived. Shall I have the cooks and the entertainment beamed down?
And engineers with all the engineered equipment and all that there, the tables and chairs and benches and et cetera there.
Oh,
Set
Ah,
it
yes,
up.
the most honorable of tasks for a Klingon engineer, setting up a table.
Setting- Do we have any sort of security detail, just in case, or just inherently all the Klingons going can hold their own? Just
I mean,
in
we
case.
are bringing batleths, right?
Well,
I mean, I would just think that's a given for a Klingon game.
I thought
yeah.
so too.
Yeah.
I'm saying it, just putting that out there.
I'll bring a couple Becks to just kind of like stand on the perimeter. We don't know. There might be wildlife on the planet.
I will bring my not ceremonial batleth, the special one.
The special one you got from Glorithar. Mhm.
Glorithar, yes.
I mean, as far as these guys know, the batleth is how we eat. It is a utensil, so...
Well, I think they'll figure out very, very quickly it's not. But,
Yeah, they're going to think that you're the chieftain if you get the most ornate blade, and I say let them.
I'm not going to argue that, yeah.
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 Nice.
Although we don't know how ornate the Glorithar batleth is. We just know it's like a special one. We don't know if it's like...
ornate as hell. Like
Oh,
that
okay,
batleth,
never mind.
That
I didn't know if it was
batleth
like
is
bedazzled
old.
or not.
Like, I think I forget the name of the episode we see in DS9, but if you remember the episode of DS9 where Worf literally finds the blade of I.K.S, it's about as old as that. So this is a very old, very storied blade.
Nice.
But yeah. So, one thing I'd like to make sure that I understand, are you going with the set everything up symmetrical, making it look nice, one side Klingon browns and reds and things like that, and then the other side Zidrak gold? Or is it just going to be one table that isn't really fancy? Like, what does it look like here?
Should we maybe start thinking in terms of neutral earth tones, guys? I'm starting to think that maybe we don't want to color clash into violence clash, unless we do want to.
No.
Yeah, I mean that's fine.
With subtle,
Yeah, we can
subtle
just,
colors and everything there.
We'll put have a stand with the Klingon Empire flag so they see what it looks like. But
Yeah, set condition
Sure.
beige.
Okay.
yeah,
All
but
right.
do keep it symmetrical. I think I think they're gonna like that.
Okay. So, we see kind of a quick montage of everybody setting up the banquet area. Of course, the best casks of blood wine have been brought out. The targs are ready to be butchered and prepared on the spot as required. Very fresh.
Barbecue.
The Ga is appropriately squirmy and trying to get out of its barrel, so it's also very fresh. And what ends up happening is the time arrives when the Zidrak ship is finally able to hear, and you all hear a muffled thwump noise as you look up, and you see what appears to be a very long, almost zip line-like thing, where the Zidrak ship comes in the atmosphere and hovers maybe, I don't know, like 400 or 500 feet off the ground, and then fires like this zip line down near the area where you've set up the banquet. And literally sliding down this zip line are these Zidrak people.
They're
rappelling down.
Nice.
They're
Yeah.
rappelling down. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And it's one of the
Creative.
things where, again, as I said earlier, they are big. Like, they're bigger than you. But it doesn't really hit you how big they really are until the first one touches down next to the banquet area. Like, what you have set up on the table is like a kid's tea table kind of a thing to them. Where
Got it.
they very much tower over you. They have a presence, and they are, well, they're big, I think is the easiest way to say it. They're big.
What's the average size feet wise?
If I had to put a specific number on it, let's say that they are easily pushing 12, 13 feet.
Dang.
Ooh.
Dang.
Nope.
They're like
Okay, note
twice
to self,
as
next
tall as
time.
we are.
Yeah. So
Right.
they are definitely also proportioned to match. So they are avian-like in that their limbs are very thin, and they are very spry. But even their thinnest arm is thicker than yours.
Look at Canas and ask her to, signal her to use the tricorder.
Oh, yeah, I could maybe
Medical
just do it.
tricorder.
Yeah, can I do like
Scan them.
a discreet scan? I don't want
Maybe
to
we
like...
should say hello first.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
let's
guess that's
say
also an
hi.
option.
Yeah.
Let me ask this, Kanask. What is it you would want to know about them on the tricorder scan?
Oh, well, I'm a little
Biology.
wondering if they somehow also have a seedling, not a seedling, but like, given the Drin had some shared DNA, just check in. And the Drin didn't look anything like us either.
Hmm.
I would be curious if there was any other shenanigans about, but I suspect the chances of that are pretty low. I think it's just good to just get like a general. I don't know if I could just like beep beep from my pocket, just like to the side, like the equivalent of butt dialing by accident.
Easily done.
Okay, yeah, we'll do a little
it's easily
discreet
done.
something. Yeah.
All right. I'm not going to have you roll for this because it's very obvious information. The good news, they are not ancestors or ancestor related to the Klingons. They are an entirely different species, different genus than the Klingons are.
No.
So no correlation there. But interestingly, if this data is correct, they are a fusion of carbon and silicate life, where they're not pure carbon, they're not pure silicon, they are a fusion of the two.
Can they digest our food?
They can.
They started it with telling us to
Okay.
bring food. Like, if they can't, they only have themselves to blame.
All right. That's fair.
But I should qualify for those who don't understand the magnitude of that. As far as sci-fi is concerned, at least everything that I've ever read, you either have carbon life forms, which is us, Klingons,
Or
etc.,
silicate life
etc.
forms, yeah.
And then you have silicate life forms, which are very much the Horda, I think, are a good example of a silicate life form. So the fact that the Zidrak are a fusion of the two, like Kanos, this is something that you could write a paper about and get published and have another doctor title kind of a thing.
Another good example would be
Yeah,
the Shellyak.
Yeah, the Shellyak are another good
yeah.
example.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those things that you don't see every day. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we better greet them and.
Yeah, my question is, who among you is going to lead the group as you go to meet them?
I'm the diplomat. Let's do this.
Okay. So Maury's at the front, and the first Zidrak looms over you as you step forward, and its many eyes look at you, and it says in the same lyrical voice, "Greetings. My name does not translate to your language. However, you may call me One."
I am Maury, son of Povich, of House Makil. I am Klingon. It is an honor to make your acquaintance, One.
There's a moment where One sort of says your name, but in their language, and it kind of cocks its head to the side and says, "That is an interesting name. It is not perhaps as symmetrical as one could hope, but it is acceptable. Greetings, Maury of the Klingons."
May I introduce the other members of our reception party? We look forward to introducing our cuisine to you as much as we do introducing our cultures. May I present General Akrok, the Brigadier General and Fleet Command Attaché of our expeditionary force, Dagon, son of Ken, our Chief Engineer, and Dr. Honasto, our Chief Medical and Scientific Officer. And forgive me if I get screwed up anybody's name. It's me, the person doing it, not.
You did fine.
You did great.
You did good. So, same thing. One repeats the name in their language and says, "Akrok." That is a very, almost perfect symmetrical name. Interesting.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
However, we are confused. We see that you have brought food supplements, but this is not what we meant by feast.
Perhaps part of cultural exchange is understanding, feasting, and ingesting nutrients. This is how we consume nutrients. We understand that you may be very different from us. Please, do explain. What would constitute nutrients to your species?
And at this, One motions at one of the other Zidrak, and the Zidrak steps forward and begins singing. And even with the Universal Translator, it's not able to translate the lyrics, but it sounds like, for lack of a better descriptor, a siren song. So it's very alluring.
Oh.
It is very hypnotizing. You find yourself like nodding along with the rises and the falls. You're enamored
ears.
by this song.
Over my ears.
So Dagon is going to cover their ears. Okay, is anybody else going to cover their ears?
I'm not going to physically cover my ears, but
Well, maybe don't. Actually, hold up. I'm going to say maybe don't cover your ears, because if it's like bring your food, we're going to exchange cultures.
right.
If we look like we're rejecting their culture, maybe not a good diplomatic.
Also,
So
I have to
here's
go
how
back
I
to
look
Polo.
at it.
Do they even
Here's how
have
I
ears?
look. We're dinner.
We don't know that
We're
yet.
dinner. Well, that's it. We don't know that yet. That's the point.
Sure.
So somebody should cover their ears.
Well, we'll use that as a litmus test, I guess. So,
Mhm.
go ahead.
Okay. So
I'm going to not cover my ears, but is there a way to, I can hum kind of lowly internally to try to drown out the noise, right? Know what I mean?
Yeah. If you want to give me a fitness and command at a difficulty of 1, and anybody else who'd like to do likewise, you also can do a fitness command difficulty of 1.
Fitness command.
How do you feel about composure as a focus?
Composure is a focus, sure.
Copy.
All right, 2 successes from a croc. So a croc, you get a momentum. Good stuff there.
Are they trying to
wrong
intimidate or
button.
threaten us, or does it seem like they are?
Yes, actually, this would apply.
Cool.
Okay, I'm gonna throw a Dauntless in, and let's see. So that was
All right,
what
Honasto
command?
gets 2, so you're up to 6 momentum total. Well done there.
Was that fitness command you said?
Fitness command.
Oh, I rolled the wrong thing. I misclicked, but I think it would have worked anyway. 'cause
You're
I-
still good, yeah.
Yeah, because I rolled under. I did it worse.
Do
You're
I
good.
want to buy?
Say, I don't have a focus there.
Dagon's good.
I think I want to spend a momentum and buy a d20 so I can throw in cautious.
Okay, so you'll be at 5 momentum.
So commanding bloodline and other fun stuff. Yeah, a million things. And I'm
Got
gonna say
5
that this
momentum.
requires a lot of composure to not get intimidated. So
Oh, yeah.
focus. Oh, I'm worried about this. Wait, what is? Oh, yes, dedicated focus. Wait, hold on, dedicated focus?
It's the
That's
thing.
something I gotta talk to the sheet owners about. That's supposed to be a 2nd edition thing, but they pushed out an update and didn't properly tag the sheet. So I gotta tell them that there's bugs with the sheet. So just
Got
ignore
it.
dedicated focus. It means something in 2nd edition. It's a not
Nothing
used
yet.
talent in 1st edition.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm going to
All
roll
right,
a
so
challenge dice there to see if I can get my determination back.
You do.
Which I can.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm buying the 1 die. Got my focus on. Ignoring
All
the
right,
first
so you're at 6
complication.
momentum total. So all of you resist the alluring sound of the Zidrak that is singing. However, the same cannot be said of the remaining Klingons that are here. But rather than, wandering aimlessly towards the Zidrak or throwing themselves at the Zidrak, that sort of thing, the other Klingons all begin to just sort of drop off to sleep, where they just sort of collapse in their chairs or settle down in the blue grass and just sort of go to sleep. And even
That's
the
what I was
Targs, the
figuring that was gonna
Targs are
happen.
going to sleep. The
Wow.
the Ga are
Is falling
also
asleep?
Yeah, the Ga are not
Sleeping?
wriggling as
Nice.
much. They are becoming catatonic
Nice.
almost.
Wow. Cool.
And because we're at that time, one is going to proclaim, "Very well, the feast may now begin."
Oh,
And that's where we're going to end today's session, because I'm an asshole.
Nope.
That's.
I mean, I was
knew
going to
it.
start waking up our
I knew it.
people.
Yeah.
We tried.
We tried, but you know
Hey,
what?
We should have blown up the probe.
Well, I mean, our ship's still in orbit. We can just be like,
Right.
all right,
Yeah, but yours might not have been.
this didn't work. So you see that ship that's
Yeah.
hovering above us? Get rid of it.
We have options. We have options.
We have not only do we have options, we still have opera. They haven't heard Klingon throats.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm of the mind that if this is an overtly hostile act, then they're done. So we're done. Like
Yep.
we did
That's fine.
did the arm out, let's shake hands, and they decided to try to kill us. So that means
Well, I
death
should
is the only
qualify.
choice.
They haven't like produced
Right, not yet.
blades.
Right, but
Yeah, they've just sort of
might
sung
not
a
need to.
song and put your people to sleep, which, if that's hostile to you, then so it is.
right.
It's kind
The
of
fact
hostile.
now now the feast can begin is the part where I'm like, oh, that's definitely worrying. So
Yeah,
You know.
we brought down the Klingon ghetto blaster. If they want to feast, we're gonna feast right back at them with
We're
subwoofers.
still awake.
Right,
We
yeah.
can find out what their feast is.
yeah, exactly. But all I'm saying is that if this does appear to be a thing when they want to eat everybody,
Let us not assume anything.
right.
Well, you've got some time to think about it, because I think our next Honasto run, because I know we can't do next week, and
Correct.
Steadfast, I know you're probably away for the 27th as well. So does that make, what is that, August 3rd that our next mission will be?
Yeah, I might be able to do the 27th. I will be able to let you know sometime middle of next week.
Okay. Well, I mean, if it's not feasible, let's just aim for the 3rd. I think we'll
Sure.
just aim for the
Copy.
3rd. So
That
yeah,
works.
for anybody listening in, our next session will probably be the 3rd for Honasto, so a bit of a small break once more. But, you know, the important thing is that we're still playing. We're just dealing with scheduling issues here and there. But yeah, Twitch, stick
Real
around
life
because we're going to
sucks.
rate somebody. But YouTube, this is where we say goodbye. Bye, YouTube.
Bye.
Later, tube.
Bye.